Hi friends, I am ready to finish our beautiful rainbow fish with you today. So I have a few supplies out that we haven't been using. These supplies are depending on asking your adult if you can use them or if you have them. And if you don't, that's okay. There's always other things to color with, okay? An option today to add our sparkly scales is our foil, and I just grabbed this foil from my kitchen that I use for cooking. It's just aluminum foil, and I have the thin stuff that is easy to cut and glue. Okay, another option today, if you have it, is watercolors and scissors, a glue stick, a black crayon, or a black marker. So most of us ended at this part of our drawing. If you haven't yet, trace your drawing with black crayon or black marker, and then maybe even think about adding, maybe if you just added the rainbow fish, now you're adding more sea creatures. I added that little blue fish, a turtle, the octopus, the starfish, a shell, and some coral. After you are done drawing, are done tracing with a black crayon or black marker. So tracing, you're just going over your pencil lines, and then you may color. The last video that you just watched went over the different colors of our color wheel or rainbow, and I like us to think about red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, or purple. Okay, so we have crayons today. You can color this. If you want to use watercolors, color everything except for the water. So just like this picture, anything that you want white, even though it's white on the page, I would push down hard and color in my white spots. So that way when I paint, I will make sure that stays white. Wax and water resist each other. So the wax of the crayon and the water paint, the watercolor paint, resist. So that means when I paint, it will go right over it and go around. So you'll still see all of my beautiful colors. A trick to that is make sure you're pushing down hard. If you're not using watercolors, and that's okay if you're not, then you're just coloring all of your picture. So I colored in my fish, my seaweed, my sand, and then I just used a nice blue. I think I chose cerulean to color in my sea. Okay. Maybe you're going to use a darker blues in some areas so it looks like the current is going, and that's okay. So maybe I'm going to kind of do like a wavy current. Okay, that's a good technique, just to make it look more realistic. Oh yeah, I like that, how it's darker in some areas. Okay, another trick if you're using watercolor is maybe you're adding some white in some areas. And this is, I call it an art surprise, because we're going to find out later when we paint where I drew this. So maybe I have some white little fluff from my current. Maybe I'm even adding some blues. Okay. All right, beautiful. So if you are just coloring, all I did for my scales is I just took the tin foil and took my scissors and cut little round shapes like that hill that we did, like this. I take my glue stick, I put it on my scale, I take my foil that I just cut, and I hold down, and I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To do the flashy scales, I also just take a little piece, kind of did a little stripe. So if you want this on like the fin, I have just a small little piece here, and if you want to make it thinner, maybe we can make this into 2. Remember, we always cut away from ourselves. So notice how I am cutting away. My thumb goes in the small hole. My 3 fingers go in the bigger hole. Beautiful. Then I can take my glue stick, and if I want to add this on my fin somewhere, I'm just putting the glue down and holding down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. Okay, so that's how I made my scales, and it's up to you how many you want to do. I did a few stripes on my top fin, and it's pretty fun, and it looks really flashy after. Right? It looks like my beautiful rainbow fish. But if you only want to do a couple scales, that's okay too, because remember, the rainbow fish did share with all of his friends, right? He gave away his beautiful scales and made his friends happy. Alright, if you're doing the watercolor, and I apologize that I keep going back and forth, I'm just getting excited, I think, about this project. So if I am using watercolor, I have a little bit of water in my bucket. I have a nice little paintbrush. I always do swirl, swirl, wipe, dip. Swirl, wipe, dip. And I'm just getting a small little puddle in my watercolor palette. Small little puddle. So swirl, wipe, dip. And now I can paint. And when I paint this blue, I'm going to go right over all of my drawing. And I'm not using a lot of paint. I'm not using a lot of water. So I'm just going to paint right over everything that I drew, because if you notice, the crayon stays, right? So the water and the wax resist each other. Ooh, there's an art surprise. That's where my white crayon was. Oh, I love it. Okay. So I'm just painting right on top of my fish, and that will be cool too. So if I have any white space on my fish, it will look like it's covered, and it will probably look more like it's underwater. So it's pretty cool. I'm even going to do my down here. I'm going to cover that and paint too. I'm just painting. Ooh, another art surprise. I just saw that little white from what I drew earlier. So I'm going all over. This is fun. Now, if you don't have watercolors at home, that's okay. This is a good learning experience, because when you come back to school, we could try it in art, okay? So this is called resist painting. Resist. Because the wax and the crayon and the water resist each other. So I'm just painting right on top of my objects that I drew. Oh, this is beautiful. Yay. I miss this. I miss painting. Okay. And I can even do it on my sand. And the water and the paint might just sit on top of the sand, and that's okay. And then when it dries, it's going to look cool. Now I love this. It looks like my whole painting is underwater. So you can go over spots that you haven't missed. I go all the way to the edge of my paper. Ooh, this is cool. That looks very fun. You could always wait for it to dry, and then you could add the foil. So don't do the foil first if you're painting, okay? If you're painting, do the painting, and then wait for it to dry, and then you can add your fun scales. Of course, if you don't have foil, if you don't have watercolors, you could always just, I'm going to put this aside for us, you could always just color with what you have at home. So if you have crayons, colored pencils, markers, feel free to use those supplies, okay? Make it beautiful. If you want to make it so he has fun scales, maybe instead of the foil, maybe you're just doing little dots like this, and you're going to keep adding dots all over. So this is like kind of like it sparkles because it's just like this rainbow, sparkle, fun, confetti dots. And I'm just going to use, oopsies, a whole bunch of fun colors. So maybe if you don't have the foil or if you don't have the watercolors, you're going to come up with a fun, I already used those colors, plan to make your fish sparkle. Maybe with an adult's consent, maybe you have glitter at home or some type of glittery thing that you could do for a scale. Okay? Oh, that looks like it sparkles. Thinking about foil, right? It reflects, you see tons of color. So if you did something like this, that also looks like, you know, it's reflecting on something, has tons of beautiful colors. Oh, that's gorgeous. And then you can color the rest of the fish, maybe with just the one color scales. So when you're coloring, make sure you're coloring in one direction. We try to stay inside the lines. I'm pushing down the same pressure. So I'm holding my crayon like a pencil and I'm kind of pushing down the same pressure. Okay? I'm so excited to see your beautiful rainbow fish with whatever you choose to do to finish this art project. And most importantly, I hope you have a lot of fun. All right, bye.